Okay, Hare Krishna. So welcome to all the devotees here to our Bhakti Sastri Nectar of Devotion class. So we'll start our class today with the Mangala Charan prayers. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Shwapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Pada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathajivam Sadvaitam Shavadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Panglungam Kayate Tamaham Bande Sri Gurun Dinataranam Paramanandamatvam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nana Sastra Vicharanay Kanipunao Sadharma Samstapakao Lokanam Hitakarinao Tribhuvane Manyao Saranyakara Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nande Namata Likao Vande Rupa Sanatanao Raghujugao Sri Jiva Gopala Vande Rupa Sanatanao Raghujugao Sri Jiva Gopala Jai Sri Shishakya Swami Bhagavan Ki Jai Sure Goswami Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Hare Krishna. So yeah, welcome back to all the devotees. We are continuing our studying on the Nectar of Devotion. So the discussion of today's class will be chapter 12 and 13, which are actually the continuation from the previous chapters. We will see that hopefully we can cover these two chapters. It's not much. And yeah, we will see that how again and again Srila Rupa Goswami giving evidences from scriptures, yeah, different statement from scriptures about the 64 angas of bhakti. And specifically on the chapter 13, we will be discussing the 5 most potent angas of devotional service. So let's start our class with chapter 12. So chapter 12, a further aspect of transcendental service. Scriptural evidence is given for items 54 through 64 of the 64 angas of bhakti, 5 of which are considered to be the most potent forms of devotional service, with emphasis on festivals and the 5 most potent forms of devotional service. So in this chapter, chapter 12, we're going to finish all the discussion on the 64 angas of bhakti. And chapter 13, we will see that Rupa Goswami is emphasizing more on the 5 most potent angas or potent activities, potent form of devotional service. Okay? So hearing Sravana, hearing the revealed scriptures. In the Skanda Purana, there is this statement: a person who is constantly engaged in reading literature announcing the cultivation of Vaishnava devotional service is always glorious in human society. And certainly Lord Krishna becomes pleased with him. A person who very carefully keeps such literature at home and offer respectful obeisances to it becomes freed from all sinful reactions and ultimately becomes worshipable by the demigods. You see here that Rupa Goswami giving the evidence from the Skanda Purana that a person who regularly studying the scriptures, yeah, and also keeping the scriptures in their houses and worship the scriptures. So, for example, like in the Gita Jayanti festival, we are worshiping the book. We are worshiping the book Bhagavad Gita, because after all, because Krishna is absolute. So his words, his instruction, his pastimes, his name, form, qualities, actually non-different from Krishna himself. Srila Sanatan Goswami prayed to the Srimad Bhagavatam in his book. What is this? Krishna Lila Stava. Very beautiful book. Not big book. I highly recommend to read this book, Krishna Lila Stava, where he says that Parama Nanda Pataya Prema Varsak Sharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostu. So the Srimad Bhagavatam, Param Ananda Pataya, can give the highest form of bliss. Param Ananda, Prema Varsak Sharayate. Prema Varsak Sharayate. And Srimad Bhagavatam can give, can invoke love for Krishna, Prema. Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya. And therefore, he's actually requesting to all of us, Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya. And kindly, please serve the Srimad Bhagavatam. How we serve the Srimad Bhagavatam? By hearing it, by studying it, by reciting it, and by keeping it nicely in our place and worship, offer obeisances to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because after all, Krishnaya Namos to me. Because the Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna's direct incarnation, actually. Krishna's direct incarnation. When the sage when the sages in Naimisharanya, headed by Sanaka Rishi, asked Sutta Goswami, so what is the hope for the whole world after Lord Krishna departed from this mortal earth? How do we, where the religious and knowledge, Divya Gyan, or spiritual knowledge, will take shelter? So Sutta Goswami gave the answer. What is that very famous verse? Krishne swadham upagate dharma jnana divisaha khalau nasta drisham esa purana arko dunodita. So he replied that the Purana Arka, Srimad Bhagavatam, is just like the sun. Just like the sun, as soon as the sun rises, so there is no more question of darkness. So Krishna Swadhamu Bhagate. After Krishna returned to his eternal abode, Swadhamu Bhagate, Dharma and Gyan, Adivishaha. Dharma and Gyan will take shelter in the Srimad Bhagavatam. In other words, that actually Krishna manifested himself in the form of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Kalau nasta drisham esha. You see, kalau nasta drisham esha Purana arko dunodita. So the Srimad Bhagavatam will dissipate the darkness of ignorance in the Kali Yuga. So that's actually Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna himself. In fact, the Srimad Bhagavatam also mentioned that idam Bhagavatam nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam. So Brahma Samhitam, not Brahma Samhitam, but Brahma Samhitam means the Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Krishna. Yeah. Danyam Swastya Ayana Mahat. It is all Danyam means all successful. Swasti Ayanam, all blissful, and Mahat, all perfect. All perfect. So to study the Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, any scriptures which is favorable for our advancement in Krishna consciousness is highly recommended to be heard, to be recited, and we have to worship the book. The books should be worshipped because after all, these are actually Krishna's instruction. So like if you have altar at home, get like a small book of Bhagavad Gita, and you can place that small book on the altar and worship, worship the book, just like how you worship Krishna. Okay. It is also said to Narada Muni, my dear Narada, a person who writes Vaishnava literature and keeps such literature at home has Lord Narayan always residing in his house. So that's obvious that after all, uh, the Vaishnava literature is very dear to Krishna, and keeping such literature, keeping means not only keeping just to keep it on the shelf, but we have to read it, we have to study it, we have to discuss it. Yeah. Naham tistami vaikunte yoginam hridayesva atha tistami narada yatra gayanti mamapi. So Lord Narayan, Lord Krishna himself mentioned to Narada, Naham tistami vaikunte. He said that Aham tistami vaikunte. I'm not residing in Vaikunta. I will leave Vaikunta. Yoginam hridayeshuya. I also will not reside in the heart of the yogi. Tathatistami narada yatra gayanti mamapi. Because I will go yatra gayanti mam api. I will go to the place where the discussion of my glories or my devotees' glories taking place. I will go to that place. I even will leave Vaikuntha. Of course, we see in the Brahma Samhita prayer, Lord Brahma prayed that Goloka eva nivasatya kilat mabhuto. Lord Krishna is eternally resided in Vrindavan, in Goloka, in the spiritual world. But Lord Krishna, to emphasize the point to Narad Muni that how important it is to glorify Lord Krishna, to have some Krishna Katha among the devotees. So even he will leave Vaikuntha, he will leave the heart of the yogi, because the yogi will keep Krishna within their heart in full meditation. But when Krishna knows there is some discussion about his glories, he will immediately rush to that place. How much, you see, how much Krishna is getting attracted by the glorification of himself. You see, because the devotee is also very dear to Krishna. So the devotee is very dear to Krishna. When the devotees assemble together, glorify his glories, so Krishna will become Krishna Akarsini. So that will attract Krishna. Krishna will be attracted. So by keeping such literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Lord Narayan himself will reside in our place. So it's very important, hearing the revealed scriptures. And then residing in Mathura. In the Varaha Purana, there is a statement praising the residential quarters of Mathura. Lord Varaha tells the man of earth, any person who becomes attracted to the place other than Mathura will certainly be captivated by the illusory energy. In the Brahmanda Purana, it is said that all the results of traveling on all the pilgrimages within the three worlds can be achieved simply by touching the holy land of Mathura. In many sastras, scriptures, it is said that simply by hearing, remembering, glorifying, desiring, seeing or touching the land of Mathura, one can achieve all desires, all desires. So yeah, it is mentioned here that where is that? Any person who becomes attracted to places other than Mathura will certainly be captivated by the illusory energy. So we may ask a question in our mind or something else. Why it is mentioned like this? Well, it's just for the, again, to emphasize the glories of Mathura Dham, Mathura Mandal. So when we speak about Mathura, of course, Vrindavan is included, yeah, because Vrindavan is Raj Mandal, Mathura Mandal. They are very close. And what about another dham like Jagannath Puri, Mayapur, or even Tirupati dham? Like especially here in India, there are. That's why India is actually a very very glorious place because almost in every corner in India, wherever you go, up, down, left, right, all the places in India, you can see so many dhams, holy places. So of course, when we talk about Mathura, of course, this section is talking specifically about Mathura in Uttar Pradesh, uh, but it's not minimizing the importance of others holy dhams like Jagannath Puri or Mayapur or Udupi, for example, Pajaka Kshetra in Karnataka. So actually in the Karnataka, in Udupi, that is considered to be Dakshin Vrindavan or Vrindavan in south, Vrindavan in southern part of India. So yeah, the point here is that whenever we touch the holy place, getting in touch with the holy place, or we reside there, or we just remember uh, about the dham. And the main idea of dham, of course, we all know that wherever Krishna is worshipped, that's considered to be dham, holy place. And we'll get the spiritual potency when we just get in touch with the dham. And especially like Mathura, Vasudeva Krishna took his first time there, taking birth in Mathura. So definitely that place will be very much sanctified because his lotus feet touching that land, touching that land. So we are always aspiring to get the dust of Krishna's lotus feet. Therefore, the land of Mathura, directly touched by Lord Krishna, is so auspicious, uh, and we want to roll on the ground of Mathura, just like in the pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is described that because all the devotees in Navadvip Dham, they are wanting to get the dust from the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walk, the devotees follows Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu step is how I describe this. After he walk, so behind the devotees following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all the devotees they start grabbing that very place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stepped on the earth. So the land actually those days is described that it's hollow because the devotees taking that dust. So that's glorious. So that's about Mathura. Rendering service to the devotees. So this is Vaisnava Seva, considered to be a Sadhu Sangha. In the Padma Purana, there is a nice statement praising the service of the Vaishnava or the devotees. In that scripture, Lord Shiva tells Parvati, my dear Parvati, there are different methods of worship, and out of all such methods, the worship of Supreme Person is considered to be the highest, but even higher than the worship of the Lord is the worship of the devotees, of the Lord's devotees. Aradhananam sarvesam Vishnu aradhanam param tasmat paradharam devim tadyanam samarchanam. So that's the verse, conversation between Lord Shiva and Parvati, that the devotees worship much more higher than Krishna worship. That's why uh, the first thing that we have to do in the morning is to worship the devotees, right? Of course, we are attending the Mangalarati, we are performing the puja, the arati to the deities. But the song that we sing is the glorification of his devotees, the spiritual master. Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam, Vande Guru Sri Charanaravindam. So we are worshipping, we are performing the arati to the deities, but we are glorifying how the spiritual master serving the deities, like Sri Vigraha Radhana Nityanana Sringaratan Mandirama Janada, how the spiritual master dressed the deities, Sringar, or what we call this Sringar, to decorate the deities. Sringaratan Mandiramarjana, how the spiritual master cleaned the temple of the Lord. So we are glorifying Krishna's devotee. Yeah. So in that way, first, Krishna's devotees should be worshipped, should be pleased before we are able to get Krishna's mercy. Yasya Prasada Bhagavat. And in the Adi Purana, there is a following statement by Lord Krishna himself addressed to Arjuna. My dear Partha, one who claims to be my devotee is not so. Only a person who claims to be the devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. No one can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. Chaitanya Madhya Lila 13.18. One must approach him through his pure devotees. Therefore, the system of Vaishnava activities. Therefore, in the system of Vaishnava activities, the first duty is to accept devotee as spiritual master and then render service to him. Yeah. Ye me bhakta jana parta name bhaktas chate jana mad bhakta nam chaye bhaktas tame bhakta tamo mataha. Mataha means it is my opinion. Yeah. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, we find this word also mataha in the 6.47, the last verse of 6th chapter. Yogi nama pisarvesam madhyatina antaratana sradhavan bhajate yomam shame yukta tamo mataha. So Krishna says that amongst all the yogis, the devotees are the best. Mataha. Krishna said, it is my opinion. Also, was that Sanjaya in the 18th chapter, we find that where he mentioned Yatha Yogeshwara Krishna Yatha Partho Daruda Tatra Sri Vijay Butir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Mama, Matir Mama, Matir Mama. Mama means my opinion. So like that. So here Krishna mentioned also to Arjuna, Yeme Bhakta Jana Yeme Bhakta Jana Partha Name Bhaktasthite. Those who claim to be my devotee, they are actually not my devotee. Mad Bhaktanam Chaya Bhakta. Those who claim, those who are the devotees of my devotees, Teme Bhakta Tamo. Teme Bhakta Tamo. So that person is actually my devotee. So just another emphasis again that worshipping Krishna's devotee, pleasing Krishna's devotee is even much more pleasing to Krishna than we try to please Krishna directly. So all this topic designs actually, if we attend the ISKCON disciple course, the importance of Guru, there we discuss in much more detail. So that was the glorious activities of serving the Vaishnava. Rahu Ganaita Tapasana Yati Nachetyaya Nirvapana Krihatmana Chandasa Naiva Jalagni Suryaya Vinamahat Padarajo. So in the Bhagavatam, it is also described that what is his name? Jada Bharata giving the instruction to King Rahugana that Vinamahat Padarajo Vishekam. In order to be able to get Krishna Prema, we have to take the dust of the lotus feet of the devotees and pour all over our head. Rishabhadev Maharaj also giving similar instruction. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktesh. Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sankam. So we have to serve the great Vaishnavas, Mahat Sevam. Then Dwaram Ahur Vimuktesh. Then the liberation, the gate of liberation is open. Prahlad Maharaj similarly also giving the same instruction in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Naisam matistava duru kramangri sprisatyanartha pagamo yadartha mahiyasam padarajo abhishekam mahiyasam padarajo abhishekam niskinchana navrinitaya. So we have to take the dust again, the same thing mentioned again and again. Take the dust from the lotus feet of the devotees, mahiyasam padarajo abhishekam, and pour all over our head, our body, niskinchananam. And what is the symptoms of a great devotee? He is niskinchan. Niskinchananam means he has no material desire. He has no material desire, and that's one of the symptoms of a pure devotee. No material desire. Niskinchan or akinchan, skinchananam. So serving the devotees, very important. Like Raghunath Das was punished. If you see this picture, intentionally I put this picture. So Raghunath Das was punished by Lord Nityananda. That the punishment is to serve the devotees, to feed the Vaishnavas with the chidarahi, poha mixed with yogurt, bananas, so on, camphor. So this is a good punishment to feed the devotees. And then serving the Lord according to one's position. Yeah, in the Padma Purana, there is a statement that one should perform the ceremonies of the Lord according to one's financial position. Everyone should observe the different ceremonies and celebration of the Lord by all means. So at least Patram Puspam Palam Toyam, we should offer to Krishna at least on a daily basis, especially those who are in the household life. We should keep altar. We have to have altar at home and offer something to Krishna according to our own position in terms of our how much wealth do we have. So if we are quite capable to offer something big for Krishna, so offer big. But if you don't have anything, so at least tulasi dalamatreva jalasachulukena, at least offer tulasi leaf and water. Vikrineta swamatmanam bhaktebhyo bhaktavas. Still, Krishna will become indebted. Still, Krishna will become indebted if we offer simply tulasi leaf and water, a handful of water, like a palm, like this water. So Krishna still will become indebted. Vikrineta swam atmana. Krishna will sell himself to the devotees, provided that how do we offer, with what attitude we offer. We should offer with full love and devotion. So that's the point. If we're capable to give something big for Krishna, so give it. Don't worry, because after all, everything is belong to Krishna. Nothing belong to us. The more we give to Krishna, Krishna will become much more pleased to us, and actually that benefit ourselves. That will benefit ourselves eternally. Although artificially we are saying that Krishna, please take this. I want to offer this to you, because everything belongs to Krishna. But if we, with our sincerity, dedication, offer that thing to Krishna, so Krishna will accept it, provided with love. Patram puspam palam toyam yume bhaktya prayaj. Tadaham bhakti uparitam. So bhakti is the essence. Bhakti is the essence. It is interesting that I heard from many devotees that actually Krishna is much more interested to what we hide behind our back than what we try to offer to Krishna. What we hide on our back, in most cases, bigger than what we try to offer to Krishna. Hare Krishna. So according to our position, tulasi, if we have nothing at all, just offer tulasi and water. In that, in the purport to Bhagavad Gita 9.26, Prabhupada very nicely explained that in India, what Srila Prabhupada said, uh, even the poorest people, still they can render service to Krishna. Still they can render service to Krishna. But at least some fruit, some flower, some tulsi leaf, we should offer to Krishna. We see this picture here, like Advaita Acharya serving Lord Chaitanya here. Because Advaita is a wealthy person, so he served according to his own capability. And also this fruit vendor in Vrindavan, so offer as much as fruit that Krishna can take. Rini hibo phalaniti srutam stavaramachutam phalarthidhanyam adaya yayo sarva phalaprada. The Srimad Bhagavatam 10 canto explains that Krini hibo phalaniti srutam stavaram achuta. When Lord Achyuta, Lord Krishna, heard that this fruit vendor was calling, fruit. Anybody wants fruit, especially she wants actually to offer the fruits to Krishna. Achyutam stavaram. When Lord Achyuta heard this fruit vendor came and screaming like, I have some fruit, fresh fruit from the forest of Vrindavan. Phala arti. So Lord Krishna becomes attracted, becomes hungry to eat some fruit. Phala arti dhanyam adaya. So because Lord Krishna is observing how Nanda Maharaj would barter some grains, some paddy, some rice with many people, in exchange to some goods. So upon seeing this, dhanyam adaya. So Lord Krishna, he also picked up some grains in his little hands and running toward this lady, fruit vendor, and give the grains, and the fruit vendor give as much as fruit that Krishna can hold. Avarti dhanyam adaya. So Krishna becomes hungry of fruit. Although he is the Yayao Sarva Phala Prada, although he is the giver of all fruits of our activities, all fruits of our activities, whether it is bad or good, that's given by Lord Krishna. Although he is giving all kinds of fruit from our activities, he becomes hungry of that fruit offered by the fruit vendor. You see, Palarti Dhanam Adaya Yaya Sarva Phala Prada, because he is seeing the essence of the heart of the devotees. So according to our capability, our position, we have to try to serve Krishna and celebrate ceremonies, perform some ceremonies, celebration by all means, according to our position. We can offer big, again I mentioned, if we can offer big, offer big. If we have nothing to offer, at least tulasi and water. And that's available, especially we are in India. Tulasi is everywhere. Performing devotional service in Kartik. This is very interesting. Kartik Mass. One of the most important of this ceremonial function is called Urja Brata. Urja Brata is observed in the month of Kartik, October, November, especially in Vrindavan. There is a specific program for temple worship of the Lord in his Damodar form. In the Padma Purana, it is said the Lord may offer liberation or material happiness to the devotee, but after some devotional service has been executed, particularly in Mathura during the month of Kartik, the devotees want only to attain pure devotional service unto the Lord. Purport is that the Lord does not award devotional service to ordinary persons who are not serious about it, But even such unserious persons who execute devotional service according to the regulative principles during the month of Kartik and within the jurisdiction of Mathura in India are very easily awarded the Lord's personal service. Yeah, this Kartik, therefore we see actually in Kartik Mass, Damodar Mass, many devotees, they are going to Vrindavan and spend the whole month in Vrindavan because, of course, Vrindavan is a special place, and also it is confirmed and supported by scripture that, when we go to Vrindavan, stay there, perform devotional service, offer lamb to Lord Damodar, the benefit that we get is unlimited. Therefore, many devotees, they are so eager to go to Vrindavan during Kartik to perform the Urja Vrata. Now, it is very interesting. What is Urja Vrata? Anybody would like to comment on this? What is Urja Vrata? It is as it is mentioned here. Yeah, you see this. One of the most important of this ceremonial function is called Urja Vrata. Urja Vrata is observed in the month of Kartik, especially in Vrindavan. So, what is Urja Vrata? I'm not so familiar with this Urja Vrata. Maybe some of you, especially those who are from India, would like to comment what is Urja Vrata. Hare Krishna. Let us share some information here.
So
Yes.
I heard that Srimati Radhani's name is Ujeshwari. That's why we do Ujavat.
Okay, nice. Any other devotees? Like it is mentioned here is about ceremony that we perform called Urja Vrata. Is there some kind of specific ceremony? Maybe some ceremony like, I don't know.
I don't eat udad dal only in Kartik. That is my ceremony.
Hare Krishna. Okay. But the point is that when we just when we go to the to the holy places, especially in Mathura or Vrindavan, as it is mentioned here in the Padma Purana, that immediately one becomes the love for Krishna within one's heart will be immediately invoked. Although you see here, Prabhupada elaborated a little bit, but even such unserious persons who execute devotional service according to the regulative principles during the month of Kartik and within the jurisdiction of Mathura in Vrindavan, Mathura in India, are very easily awarded the Lord's personal service. You see, the goal of life will be obtained when we just go to Vrindavan, even by chance, even by chance, just to go there during Kartik and just offer some lamb to Damodar, Lord Damodar. The goal of life will be easily obtained. What is the goal of life? To get personal service to Krishna. To serve Krishna is the goal of life, actually. In the previous class, we have discussed that this actually how Sudama prayed to Lord Krishna. Because it is anugrah. Anugrah means mercy, blessing. This is the highest form of blessing that one can get in the form of human life, in the form of human. Pumso ati anugraho hiesham. Just to serve Krishna. Therefore, Sudama prayed that Kim aham karavanivam. Kim aham karavanivam. Please order me to do anything that you want. because after all, we are your servant. Tau agyapayatam pritam. Tau agyapayatam pritam. Pritya means servant, Pritam. Kali Ishwara Krishna, our Sabhai Pritam. So Krishna is the Ishwara, Ekale Ishwara Krishna. Krishna is the only Ishwara. Our Sabhai Britya, all others are his servants. Therefore, Kim Aham Karavanivam. Karavani, Vani means order. Please order me to do whatever you want. Pumsot anugraho yesham. Because it is anugraho. Anugraha means blessing. The topmost blessing in life is to serve Krishna. So here, Prithivipati Prabhu share worshipping Lord Damodar in his special month, in his special form during Kartik. Yeah, so this is called Urjavrata. I found something interesting here. What Srila Prabhupada meant by Urjavrata. So this is in a lecture in Radha Damodar Temple, Srila Prabhupada's lecture in Vrindavan 72, 18 October. So devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, today is the beginning of Urjavrata, the Kartik Vrata. Can you describe what that is, Urjavrata, how it should be observed? Now, sometimes we find also some devotees, they are fasting from grains during Kartik. So fasting from grain during Kartik. Yeah. They said that this is the Kartik Vrata, fasting from grain, every day only taking Ekadasi Prashadam. And then Srila Prabhupada said, Urjavrata, you chant Hare Krishna 24 hours, 1 month. The devotees just laugh. That's all. So this is Urjavrata. Srila Prabhupada's purport. What is Urjavrata? To chant Hare Krishna 24 hours for 1 month during Kartik. So, and then Guru Das said, Hare Krishna, is such chanting. And Prabhupada said, yes, don't sleep, don't eat. This is Urjavrata. Can you execute? Devotee, I don't know. Devotee is laughed. So, yeah, regarding Urjavrata. So, what I can understood here is that Urjavrata is any types of extra, I would say, extra effort to please Krishna during this month, Damodar month, Kartik month, is actually an Urja Vrata. For example, like why devotees fasting from grain? Because they don't want to take so much trouble to 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 spend more time to cook, for example, to be absorbed, actually, to be absorbed more in Krishna's service, and to reduce the bodily demand. Same like on Ekadasi, why we are fasting? Because the idea is that to, of course, one is to avoid the Papa Purusha, which is residing in the inside the grains. Another thing is that, which is a very most important aspect of fasting on Ekadasi, just to reduce the bodily demand, to absorb more in Krishna's service. So to spend more time to chant, to read, to hear, chant extra rounds. Okay, that's about Urja Vrata, to have some extra effort to please Krishna. Then the next one is that observing festivals, festivals celebrating the Lord's activities. In the Bhavishya Purana, there is a statement about observing different ceremonies, celebrating the Lord's appearance, birthday, and other transcendental activities. It is said, my Lord Janardhan, Krishna, please let us know the date when your mother Devaki gave birth to you. If you kindly inform us about this, then we shall observe a great celebration on this date. O killer of Keshi, we are souls 100% surrendered to your lotus feet, and we wish only to please you with our ceremonies. See, any ceremonies performed should be for the pleasure of the Lord. That should be the mentality. And as devotees, we should not fail actually to celebrate festival, especially Janmashtami. So even the non-devotees in India, because India is actually people in India, those who are taking birth in India, they got a special privilege, I would say, special privilege to be perfected in their life, because even the non-devotees on the day of Janmashtami, everybody would worship Krishna, at least the Hindus, at least the Hindus. We don't talk about Muslim and Christian. At least the Hindus in India, everybody would celebrate Janmashtami. You know, they recognize Krishna. So this land is very, very pious land, India. Of course, for us, for the devotees, we celebrate every day, by having kirtan. This is celebration. We go to the temple just to take darshan of the Lord is actually a celebration, big, big celebration. It is festival, Nitya Utsav. Nitya Utsav means eternal festival. Yashyananam Makarakundala Charukarna Rajat Kapola Subhagam Savila Sahasam Nityotsavam Natatribur Rishivi Pidanto Naryo Narachamudita Pitani. So when we see the deities, Darsanarati, it is Nitya Utsav. It is like a festival. Normally, when we have festival, we decorate our home, right? We make some, special thing at home, like the Christian when they celebrate Christmas, they decorate their houses and, making the Christmas tree, put some light here and there, glittering lights, like colorful lights, especially in India. People love to put this uh, twinkle twinkle light, different colors of light, yeah, to actually to invoke the atmosphere, the festival atmosphere. Yeah. Yeah. So generally, when there is festival on the festival day, so we decorate our house. But we as devotees, we are decorating Krishna. We are decorating our altar with different flowers, incense, like this every day. So we as devotees, actually, we are having festival every day, not only on Janmashtami or Gaurapuni, but every day. We have kirtan, we dance together along with other devotees. That's festival. That's festival. For example, here in Bengal, especially during the Durga Puja, so they play loud music. They sing many songs, and yeah, till midnight they have some festival. But we also every day we have this festival. We play music. What is our music? Kirtan. Kirtan is our eternal music. And then that's observing festival. And then serving the deity with great devotion. Archana Sheva, Vigraha Seva. It is said in the Adi Purana, a person who is constantly engaged in chanting the holy name and who feels transcendental pleasure being engaged in devotional service is certainly awarded the facilities of devotional service and is never given just mukti, and is never given just mukti. So mukti is already covered when one engaged in serving the Lord. Mukti means liberation from material contamination. So this is the real meaning of mukti actually. Not that when we just, when we go to, of course, that is another definition of mukti, when we return home to Vaikunta, but real uh, mukti can be achieved even while one is in the material realm. Yeah, because mukti means liberation from material contamination. When liberated, one does not have to take birth again in the material world. The impersonalists desire to merge into the spiritual existence to end their individual existence. But according to Srimad Bhagavatam, Mukti is only the beginning of one's becoming situated in his normal condition. The normal condition of every living entity is to be engaged in devotional service to the Lord. Mukta Mukta Hyantavatarupa Swarupena Vyavastiti. So this is the definition of mukti given by Swadev Goswami in the Srimad Bhagavatam. That Swarupena Vyavastiti, when we achieve our Swarup. Swarup means position or constitutional position. Yeah, constitutional position. This is our Swarup. Swarupa Jivara Hoy Krishna. To serve Krishna is our Swarup. So when we attain this position to serve Krishna, that means we are liberated. So that is mukti, because mukti means when we are free from material entanglement. So when we serve Krishna, automatically we are liberated. We are freed from material entanglements. So that's the idea. And regarding worshipping the deities, worshipping the deities means also we are worshipping Krishna's devotee. Acharyam eva haraye pujam yashradaye hate nathad bhakte suchanye susa bhakta prakrita smrita. If one worship the deities with full faith only to the deities, but disrespecting the devotees, when one worship the deities with full faith, but disrespecting the devotees, that's actually is not at all having faith to the deities. Sa bhakta prakrita smrita. And that person can be considered even lower than kanishta adhikari, prakrita bhakta. Prakrita bhakta. Acharyam eva haraye pujam yasradhaye. Pujam yasradha. Even if a person have a lot of faith to the deities, but he has less regard, less respect to the devotees, so he is considered to be anista, beginner. That's about serving the deities, because serving the deities is actually a great privilege in life, because we are touching directly the body of the Lord. Body of the Lord. And recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam among the devotees. We have discussed this point earlier. Srimad Bhagavatam should be received in the cyclic succession without any breakage. When a ripened fruit comes from the upper part of the tree onto the ground by the process of being handed down from a higher branch to a lower branch by a person in the tree, the fruit does not break. Srimad Bhagavatam, when received in the parampara system or the cyclic succession, will likewise remain unbroken. Yeah? Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsa yuvidu sa kaline hamata yugurvastapran. So Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, Evam parampara. So this knowledge should be received through the chain of the cyclic succession. So nice, Srila Prabhupada giving the example here, like when there is a ripened fruit, how to get that fruit down safely. So by handed that fruit to another person like this. But if you just throw to the ground, it will be broken. So similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam should be received in the cyclic succession. That means we receive the transcendental knowledge by accepting a spiritual master. Of course, one of the qualifications of a spiritual master is that he should be connected with the disciplic succession. So when a person is connected with the disciplic succession by the process of diksha, diksha means divya iksha. Divya means refers to the divya gyan, transcendental knowledge, and iksha means to see, or ksapayate iksha, ksapayate to see. So this process of diksha is actually formalize our connection with the disciplic succession, and ultimately that chain will reach Krishna. And the knowledge transcendental knowledge is actually originated from Krishna. Saksat to what is that? Dharmam to Saksat Bhagavat Pranitam Navai Vidu Risayuna Pidevahana Siddhamukya Ashura Manushya Kuto Nuvidyadara Charana Adaya. So Dharma or religious principles or transcendental knowledge is actually ascertained by Bhagavan, Lord Krishna. Dharmam to Saksat Bhagavat. Saksat means directly. So directly the transcendental knowledge comes from Krishna. No other personalities manufacture Dharma. Dharma is manufactured by Krishna. And Krishna gave to, of course, in our line, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, he gave the transcendental knowledge first to the first being in the universe, Lord Brahma, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So he gives the knowledge to Brahma. And if we connect ourselves to the chain of this parampara, so we also get this knowledge, because a bona fide spiritual master will not speak something a bona fide spiritual master, when he instruct his disciple on the transcendental subject matter, he will not extract something from the original instruction, nor does he will add something. He just deliver it as it is. Srila Prabhupada gave the example just like a postman. A postman maybe have some, defect here and there, but his qualification is that when this postman can deliver a parcel sent by somebody or someone else perfectly, exactly. Prabhupada gave the example like, for example, your friend is sending you some $100 bill through post. So the perfection of this postman is that when he's able to deliver this $100 to your hand, given by your friend, that is his perfection. So he's not taking something from this $100. He's also not adding something. So he delivered it as it is. This is the perfection of a spiritual master. One of the qualification of the spiritual master is to give the knowledge as it is, as it is. And how to know that he is giving knowledge as it is? He will always refer to the previous acharyas. He is not giving commentary or purport according to his own mental concoction. He will refer to different scriptures, bona fide scriptures, and to the previous acharyas. Like our Srila Prabhupada, if you see his purport in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, mostly he refers to Srila Bhakti, Baladev Vidyabhushan for Bhagavad Gita, and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur for Srimad Bhagavatam, and some also for Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam or transcendental knowledge should be received from Parampara, from Guru. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended that one learn Srimad Bhagavatam from the mouth of the self-realized person called Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam means in relationship with the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. So the devotee is sometimes called Bhagavatam, and the book which is in relationship with devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also called Bhagavatam. So Nigama Kalpatarar Galitam Palam Sukamukad Amrita Dravasam Yutam Vibhata Bhagavatam Rasam Vibhata Bhagavatam Rasam Amala Pur Aho Rasika Puri Bhavukapa. So like Sukadev Goswami is the parrot when the Srimad Bhagavatam touched when the Srimad Bhagavatam is recited by Rasika Bhakta like Sukadev Goswami. So that Srimad Bhagavatam will become very, very sweet, just like mango fruit when it is touched by the beak of the parrot of Sukha. So that fruit becomes even more sweeter. And we have to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to learn from the Bhagavata. In that verse, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatu Tamas Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Srila Prabhupada very nicely explained about the two Bhagavatas. One is book Bhagavata and one is person Bhagavata. So person Bhagavata means a person who live on the path of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And book Bhagavata is a description of the relationship of Lord Krishna and his devotees. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam is actually uh, purely about devotional service. It's only about the devotees of Krishna. Next one is that associating with advanced devotees. In the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, there is a conversation between Prahlad Maharaj and his father, Hiranyakasipu, in which Hiranyakasipu addresses Prahlad in this way. So listen, this is Hiranyakasipu's instruction to Prahlad Maharaj. My dear son, association is very important. It acts just like a crystal stone, which will reflect anything which is put before it. Similarly, this is Prabhupada's commentation. Similarly, if we associate with the flower-like devotees of the Lord, and if our hearts are crystal clear, then certainly the same action will be there. Another example given in this connection is that if a man is potent and if a woman is not diseased, then by their conjugation, there will be conception. In the same way, if the recipient of spiritual knowledge and the deliverer of the spiritual knowledge are sincere and bona fide, there will be good result. So association with advanced devotees here refers to actually when we are humbly surrendering our ear to listen the spiritual subject matter, spiritual instruction from uh, the devotees, yeah? Senior devotees, those who are more advanced than us. And associating with advanced devotees, this actually refers to associating with the devotees refers to serving the devotees. Service uh, can be wapu and also can be vani. Yeah, two types of service: vani seva and wapu seva. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, is nicely narrated that after Sanatan Goswami, somehow or other, he made his escape from Nawab Hussain Shah, serving the Nawab in Ramkeli. So he made his escape, of course, by the help of his younger brother Rupa Goswami. He bribed the jailkeeper, and that's a little bit long story. But after all, he managed to reach, where is that? Allahabad or Varanasi. I forgot the exact place when they met, but yeah, I think that was in Varanasi. So Lord Chaitanya was staying in Chandrasekhar Acharya's house. So Lord Chaitanya knew that Sanatan Goswami came, and he asked Chandrasekhar that in the front of the door there is a great Vaishnava just arrived. Please welcome him. At that time, Sanatan Goswami still on the dress of a Muslim, with a long beard, with Muslim dress, because he just escaped from Nawab. So Lord Chaitanya asked Chandrasekhar Acharya to open the door and see whether he already arrived there or not. And Chandrasekhar opened the door, and then he saw just a Muslim mendicant, Muslim mendicant just arrived, and he came back. He returned to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said that there is no Vaishnava, there is no devotee, but there is only a Muslim. And Lord Chaitanya, upon hearing that, he immediately rushed to the door and embraced Sanatan Goswami. And then Sanatan Goswami, of course, fell down on Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet, offer obeisances, you know. And Sanatan Goswami actually, he felt a little bit reluctant that I'm so sinful, I'm so sinful. I'm serving this Muslim guy, Nawab Hussain Shah, who is a Malaysia, who is a cow eater. I'm so sinful. And he told Lord Chaitanya, please, my Lord, kindly don't touch me. I'm untouchable. Don't embrace me. But still, Lord Chaitanya embraced him again, embrace him. And yeah, if you read this story in Madhya Lila, uh, Lord Chaitanya actually he quoted a verse from Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, where he said, Aksno palam drishtava darsanam hi tano palam drishtavam gatra sangha jiva palam drishtavam kirtanam hi sudurlabha bhagavata hilo. So he said that Aksno palam drishtava darsanam hi. The perfection of our eyes is that when we see the devotees, darsanam hi, when we see the devotees, that's actually the perfection of the eyes. Tano palam drishtava gatra sangha. When we touch the body of the devotees, when we associate with the devotees, that's the perfection for this body. And then jihva palam drishtava kirtanam hi. When we glorify the devotees, that's the perfection of our tongue, jiva. Sudur lava bhagavata hiloke. Because personality, great devotee, Bhagavata devotee, is sudurlabha, is very, very rare to see. Sudurlabha Bhagavata hiloke. In this world, to find a great devotee is very rare. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced again Sanatan Goswami after reciting this verse. So he gives the evidence. This is the evidence. You are such a great devotee. Oh, Sanatan Goswami, you are a great devotee. What is there? There is no reason for me to be contaminated. So yeah, always taking advantage of the devotees association. Next item is that chanting the holy name of the Lord. The same thing, the same thing is confirmed in the Adi Purana by Krishna. While addressing Arjuna, he says, anyone who is engaged in chanting my transcendental name must be considered to be always associating with me. And I may tell you frankly that for such a devotee, I become easily purchased. So chanting the holy name of the Lord is actually directly associating with the Lord. Yeah, Namachintamani Krishna. Abhinatva Nama Namino. Krishna is not different from his holy name. So when we chant Krishna's name, Krishna will appear in our tongue directly, dancing. And then living in Mathura, again, we already discussed this. The Padma Purana, there is a statement about importance of living at holy places like Mathura or Dwaraka. It is stated there to travel to different places of pilgrimage means to attain emancipation from material bondage. This emancipation, however, is not the highest perfectional stage. After attaining this liberated stage, one has to become engaged in devotional service to the Lord. After attainment of the Brahma Bhuta liberation stage, one can further advance to engage in devotional service. So this attainment of transcendental loving devotional service to the Lord is the goal of life, and it can be achieved very easily for one who lives in Mathura Mandal, even for a few seconds, even for a few seconds. Such a powerful atmosphere, yeah, of the holy Dham. So as soon as we get in touch with the holy Dham, we become inspired to serve more, to perform devotional service. We become inspired. So another point here is that liberation is not the uh, last goal, last achievement in life. So after being liberated, we have to perform devotional service. We have to. What is the point of simply getting liberation but not performing devotional service? So, and actually, it doesn't go hand in hand. Doesn't go together. So yeah, liberation is the beginning actually of our devotional service. Because first of all, we have to be in some, I would say, in some extent, we should be liberated in order to be able to perform devotional service. At least liberated from ignorance, at least in some point, we have to be liberated from ignorance. Then we know the truth. Oh yeah, this is the truth. I have to be engaged in Krishna service. Then that's how our journey starts. And the more we perform devotional service, so the gate for liberation much more widely opened. And when we already attain pure devotional service, we don't care at all about liberation. Okay, that's the end of chapter 12. Whether any question or comments on whatever we have discussed so far? Hare Krishna. If there is no question, I would continue to chapter 13. So we have here about 15 minutes left. So I would like to invite all of you to some kind of reading session.
Prabhuji, just to add, Prabhu, I just later when you asked, just I found this thing. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is the same. I think one of the Prabhupada disciple, he mentioned. I think this is one of the article. It's the same name. It's like a. He mentioned it's the same. Kartika month is the same. Kartika Vrata is also called Vruja Vrata. And the word Urja means power, strength, internal, strength or energy. And he mentioned Vishwanath Chakravarti says Urja means strength and life of air. That's Sri Krishna's internal potency performing the pastimes. And they quoted Srimad Bhagavatam 10.39, 0.53 to 55, Prabhuji. Maybe it's the same, I think. So just the quote I'm pinging in the chat, maybe later, maybe the article, maybe I can share it too.
Yeah, you can share in the WhatsApp group. That will be very, very much appreciated. Yeah.
Sure. It seems mahanidhiswami.com it was there. It just they mentioned in that, but not sure the authenticity. But they mentioned like actually he's a Prabhupada disciple. He took a Diksha from Prabhupada disciple.
Nice.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we have 15 minutes. Now, would like to invite you to our reading section of the 13th chapter, because all the points that we'll be discussing in the 13th chapter is actually already covered in the 12th chapter. So this 13th chapter is just some kind of giving more emphasis to this 5, especially with the 5 potent form of devotional service. Okay, this chapter completes the discussion on the 64 items of devotional service. It elaborates the wonderful effects of performing the 5 most potent form of devotional service described in chapter 12. Rupa Goswami has stated that 5 kinds of devotional activities, namely residing in Mathura, worshipping the deity of the Lord, reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, serving a devotee, and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, are so potent that a small attachment for any one of these 5 items can arouse devotional ecstasy, even in a neophyte. So, very important point here that when we get attached, even one out of these 5 items, it will help us to invoke devotional feeling toward Krishna, even if we are neophyte. Same thing like Prahlad Maharaj also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam regarding the 9 processes of devotional service. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atmadivedanam, Iti Pumsar, Pita Vishnu, Bhaktis Chinnavalakshana, Kriyeta, Bhagavatyada, Tanmanye Ditamutam. So he mentioned Iti Pumsar, Pita Vishnu. Devotional service means to perform these 9 items, 9 processes to Lord Vishnu, not to other demigods. Srila Prabhupada put in a bracket, not to other demigods, but to Lord Vishnu. Iti Pumsar Pita Vishnu Bhaktisjan Navalaksana Kriyeta Bhagavatyada Tanmanye Ditamutama. Even if one is attached with one amongst these 9 items, Prahlad Maharaj said, one amongst these 9 items, one is considered to be Bhakti Uttamam, considered to be most elevated person. Tama means ignorance or darkness. Uttama means beyond ignorance. So similarly, like this also, there are 5 potent angas of bhakti. But even if we attach with one, Stravanam or Kirtanam or Mathura Bhasha or associating with the devotees, Sadhu Sangha and Archanam, so what to speak if we can cover these 5 activities every single day, like Sadhu Sangha, associating with the devotees, somehow or other, we associate with the devotees. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, to chant, of course, we get this chant. Bhagavat Shravana, to hear. Mathura Vasa, reside in the holy place. And Srimurtira Sradhaya, with full faith, worshipping the deities. As I mentioned, faith to the deities means also faith to the devotees. We cannot simply have faith only to the deities and disregard the devotees of Lord. Because the devotees are very dear to Krishna. So when we worship only Krishna and not respecting the devotees, Krishna is not pleased. Regarding worshipping the form of the Lord or deity, Rupa Goswami has written the following verse. My dear friend, if you still have any desire to enjoy the company of your friends within this material world, then don't look upon the form of Krishna, who is standing on the bank of Kesigat. He is known as Govinda, and his eyes are very enchanting. He is playing upon his flute, and on his head there is a peacock feather, and his whole body is illuminated by the moonlight in the sky. The purport of this verse is that if someone becomes attached to the Sri Murti or the deity of Krishna by worshipping at home, then he will forget his relationship of so-called friendship, love, and society. Thus, it is the duty of every householder to install deities of the Lord at home and to begin the process of worshipping along with all of his family members. This will save everyone from such unwanted activities as going to clubs, cinemas, and dancing parties, and smoking, drinking, etc. All such nonsense will be forgotten if one stress the worship of the deities at home. So why we are going to cinema? Because we don't have enough engagement at home. Therefore, this is the best engagement. Install the deity so you get engagement. Even some devotees here in Mayapur, I'm not meant to criticize any devotees, but some of the devotees, they are keeping dogs, and I saw once also they are keeping some rabbit. In my opinion, it is not at all necessary actually. Why you are keeping this kind of animals, pets? Cows is okay, but not dog, rabbit, because you don't have enough engagement. Therefore, install a deity. You serve the deities in morning. You wake up the deities, perform abhishek, offer some, bhoga, do arati. During the daytime, again, you can feed the deities. At night, offer some milk, whatever, and do arati again. You have enough engagement if you have deities at home. Again, I'm not criticize the devotees who's keeping some pet in their home, like dogs or rabbits. But yeah, better to serve the deities rather than serving a dog. Once I was asking, like, why you are keeping a dog? I said, oh, this dog, after all, he's a dumb Vasi. Okay, he's a dumb Vasi, but come on. Krishna. Okay, that's about Archana, deity worship, and this is about Bhagavat Sravana. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that unless one has the ability to throw out, just like garbage, the fruitive result of ritualistic ceremonies, economic development, and becoming one with the Supreme or salvation, one cannot understand Srimad Bhagavatam. See, this word becoming one with the Supreme does not mean merge with the Supreme, but Srila Prabhupada many times we can see in his purport or some of his lecture mentioning that becoming one means becoming one in intention with Lord. That means we are go along with his word, his instruction. This is the meaning of becoming one. The Bhagavatam deals exclusively with devotional service. Only one who studies Srimad Bhagavatam in the spirit of renunciation can understand the pastimes of the Lord which are described in the 10th canto. So the process of studying Bhagavatam from the 1st canto up to 9th canto, these are actually the process of purification for our heart. So unless in one of the purport in the 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that unless if one is not free from lusty desire within his heart, he should not give up to read the 1st and 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So like this. Then before entering 10th canto, therefore systematic study of Srimad Bhagavatam is very much recommended. Don't jump directly to the 10th canto like the professional reciters would do. Yeah. Just directly jump to the, especially with the Rasa Lila pastimes of the Lord. Not very much recommended. Otherwise, we will understand these activities to be mundane. If we don't really clear enough, understand enough Krishna's position. Therefore, in the 5th canto, it deals with creation. Why we have to study this creation? It's so complicated. Why we just don't talk about Krishna Katha, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna steals butter, Krishna steals the gopis' dress? Why do we need to discuss about this creation? Why? Because in order to understand Krishna's position, how the creation take place, okay, Krishna expand himself to Balaram to Chaturvyuha, the first Chaturvyuha, and then 2nd Chaturvyuha, and then the Purusa incarnation, 3 Purusas incarnation, and from Mahavishnu appear all these material universes, and then he enters again as Garbhodakasai Vishnu, and he enters again in every atom as Karudakasai Vishnu, or the Paramatma. Then we understand how great Krishna is. When we understand how great Krishna is, then whatever he may do, it's okay, because after all, he is God. He can do whatever. That is Krishna. So we don't complain when he steals the gopis' dress. We understand that, yeah, these gopis are actually the property of the Lord. And he can do whatever he wants. That's why it is important to understand Krishna's position, to learn the Srimad Bhagavatam systematically. Don't jump directly, yeah, to the 10th. Otherwise, we may condemn Krishna. Oh, what kind of person he's a playboy, has so many girlfriends and 16,108 wives. What kind of person? Of course, he's God. He can do whatever he wants. He has these 16,108 wives. He provides all their necessities. Each wife has got their own palaces. So like that's about Bhagavatam. In other words, one should not try to understand the topic of the 10th canto, such as Rasa Lila, love dance, unless he has spontaneous attraction for Srimad Bhagavatam. One must be situated in pure devotional service before he can relish Srimad Bhagavatam as it is. That's about hearing Bhagavatam. And then about Sadhusanga. Srila Rupa Goswami has similarly described the transcendental nature of relishing topics which concern Krishna. The devotee once said, It is very astonishing that since I have seen this personality of Godhead who is washed by the tears of my eyes, there is shivering of my body, and he has made me a failure in executing my material duties. Since seeing him, I cannot remain silent at home. I wish to go out to him always. Purport of this statement is that as soon as one is fortunate enough to contact a pure devotee, one must be anxious immediately to hear about Krishna, to learn about Krishna, or in other words, to become fully Krishna conscious. So sadhu sangha means the activities when we are mingle, when we are in the assembly of the devotees. So as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here, Srila Prabhupada emphasized on the importance of hearing from the devotees. So sadhu sangha means to serve the devotees, to have some exchange, loving exchange. Rupa Goswami explained in the Upadesmrita, there are 6 types of loving exchange. What are those 6 types? Anybody would like to answer? Text number 4, Upadesmrita, and you must memorize.
One of
Anandamai Prabhu.
Yeah, one of them is Bunkte Bonjite Chaiva,
Hmm.
like feeding and prasadam and honoring prasadam. Am I right?
What is the first?
But the Dati Priti Ganati,
Sorry?
is it correct?
Sorry?
Dadati Priti Ganati,
Yeah.
Goyam Akhyati Prichiti. Dadati Priti Ganati, Goyam Akhyati Prichiti, Bunkte Bonjite Chaiva, Shad Bhakti Priti Lakshana. Am I right?
That Vidam Priti Lakshana. Thank you.
So like yeah.
Yeah, that's the verse. Thank you very much. So Dadati Pratigrihnati, to give some gift and accept some gift. This is called Dadati, and then Pratigrihnati. Guhyam Akyati means when we reveal our heart to the devotees, because our heart is secret, reveal our heart. Guhyam Akyati, and then Prichati, to also preach to the devotees, to give some solution. Some devotees will express their feeling, some problem, I have this problem, how can I solve? Another devotees will exchange by giving some solution. Of course, we are talking about spiritual problem. Then Bhumte Bhojayate Chaiva, to receive prasadam and to give prasadam. Sadvidam Priti Laksana. So these 6 activities are Priti Laksana, loving exchange. Loving exchange. This is Sadhu Sangha. The real meaning of Sadhu Sangha is this one. To have kirtan together, to have Krishna Katha together, to take prasadam together. This is Sadhu Sangha. Yat Sangalabdham, Nijaviryavai Bhavam, Tirtamuhu Samsprisatam Himanasam. You see, the association of the devotees is much more powerful than by visiting holy places. Tirtamuhu, Haratyajunta Srutibir Gatongajam. Because in the association of the devotees, we get the chance, Srutibir Gatongajam, to hear Krishna Katha. Ko Vaina Seveta, Mukunda Vikramam, Ko Vaina Seveta. Who will not, who is there? It is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Ko Vaina Seveta. Who is that intelligent person will not associate with the devotees? That's about Sadhu Sangha. And then Mathura Bhasa. Again, Srila Rupa Goswami has described Mathura Mandal. I remember the Lord standing by the banks of Yamuna River, so beautiful, amid the kadamba trees, where many birds are chirping in the gardens. And this impression are always giving the transcendental realization of beauty and bliss. This feeling about Mathura Mandal and Vrindavan described by Rupa Goswami can actually be felt even by non-devotees. The places in the 168 square mile district of Mathura are so beautifully situated on the banks of the river Yamuna that anyone who goes there will never want to return to this material world. These statements by Rupa Goswami are factually realized descriptions of Mathura and Vrindavan, all these qualities prove that Mathura and Vrindavan are situated transcendentally. Otherwise, there would be no possibility of invoking our transcendental sentiments in these places. Such transcendental feelings are aroused immediately and without fail after one arrives in Mathura or Vrindavan. Now, this is the last statement. After hearing all this stuff, like sometimes we may feel that it is a little bit exaggerating. For example, like this Mathura, even the non-devotees, they get the feeling, like spiritual feeling, that they don't want to go back to this material world as soon as they arrive in Mathura. But we have seen that many people they go to Mathura and still they do whatever nonsense they want. Yeah, sometimes we have some doubt with this evidence given by our acharyas, Rupa Goswami and Prabhupada's Prabhupada. But this last slide would clarify or our doubt. In this statement about devotional service, sometimes it may appear that the results have been overestimated. We have seen like, oh, simply this, you will get this much. By doing this, you will get this, like in the beginning section of this discussion. We may think like this is like karma kanda, giving liberation, giving, like in the chapter 12, it is mentioned that giving, when we just touch the land of Mathura, it will fulfill all our desires, all our desires. Sometimes we may feel this is overestimating, but Srila Prabhupada nicely explained here. As revealed scriptures give evidence, have had immediate result by such association, although this is not possible for all. For example, the Kumaras immediately became devotees simply by smelling the incense in the temple. Bilwa Mangal Thakur simply heard about Krishna and then immediately gave up his beautiful girlfriend and started out for Mathura and Vrindavan, where he became a perfect Vaishnava. So these statements are not overestimation, okay? Nor are they stories. They are actual facts, but are true for certain devotees and do not necessarily apply to all. Not necessarily apply to all. These descriptions, even if considered overestimations, must be taken as they are in order to divert our attention from the fleeting material beauty to the eternal beauty of Krishna consciousness. And for a person who is already in contact with Krishna consciousness, the described results are not unusual. So this is the clarification given by Srila Prabhupada. Even sometimes if we think it is, we consider overestimation, but as devotees, we have to take this statement in the scripture as they are, just to help us to divert our attention to the beauty of Krishna consciousness, the beauty of Lord Krishna, rather than we just focusing on the material things. All right, I thank you very much for being patient, hearing from me. It's already 4 minutes past. I apologize for this. And yeah, I will stop here. Whether any last comment or last questions would be appreciated. Otherwise, we'll meet again on Thursday. Hare Krishna. All right. There's no more point to be discussed. Yeah, we end here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu ya evacha patitanam bhavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Jai.
So Lakshmi Nrsimha Prabhu, please share that what you have shared on the WhatsApp group. We all can read it again. It's nice information, very helpful.